Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Cywes, the Carb Addiction Doc, and today's episode is about one specific misused term and misused focus when it comes to ketogenic diets. And there's this tremendous argument about whether your ketogenic diet should be based on net carbohydrates or total carbohydrates. And I can tell you right up front, it absolutely, for a variety of reasons, has to be total carbohydrates if you are trying to restore health, lose weight, or be mentally happy. Now, the rationale for net carbohydrates is it has biologic origins in that certain foods contain carbohydrates, sugar and starch, but they're in a form that the human body can't effectively extract them. They may be alcohols, they may be cellulose, they may be a variety of elements that the human body cannot extract. So what we've done is we've created this mystical mathematical formula to determine how to remove carbohydrates from the calculation. Well, first and foremost, if you've seen some of my other work, the most ridiculous thing that anybody can do is count macros. Your body doesn't work that way. Your body does not do mathematical calculations in a preemptive way. It doesn't work that way. Calories are irrelevant in a human diet. Net carbs are irrelevant in a human diet. What your body sees is all the carbohydrates that go into it. It's not what goes in your mouth. It's what goes into your bloodstream that matters. And whether that sugar goes in as a simple sugar or as a starch, the enzymes in your body will break those sugars down, and what enters your bloodstream are three monosaccharides: glucose, fructose, or galactose. Galactose primarily from milk, fructose from artificially manufactured foods and fruit, and glucose from a lot of the regular healthy plants and fruits. So those are the sugars that enter your bloodstream, and it's the sugars, those three sugars, that cause the harm and that get you high to the point that you eat them to excess. The problem with net carbs is the concept of net carbohydrates have been hijacked by a variety of different people to sell us crap that makes us and keeps us fat. A lot of the keto lookalikes. So if you get some protein bar that says on the front 2 grams of net carbs and you flip it around, it's going to have typically 24 to 30 grams of total carbohydrates, which is what you're putting in your mouth. You're putting total carbohydrates in your mouth, not net carbohydrates. Net carbohydrates are a source of mathematical failure, just like calories and macro counting is a source of failure on a ketogenic diet. It's the dominant source of failure. So the simple concept that I advocate for if you're starting a ketogenic way of life is, number one, don't eat or drink anything unless you absolutely know the total carbohydrate content of the food or the drink. Do not judge the carbohydrate content in the context of other healthy nutrients that may be attached to that food. An apple has more sugar in it than a donut. Now, most people out there will tell you the apple is healthy, the donut is not. But if you're an alcoholic, I don't care how many antioxidants there are in that glass of red wine, it's about the alcohol content. It's about the alcohol content, okay? The additives do not make carbohydrates healthy. Additives do not make alcohol healthy for an alcoholic. And remember, it's not about carbohydrates, it's about your relationship with them. So on a ketogenic diet, we count total carbohydrates, period. There's just been too much bastardization and exploitation of net carbs to allow us to shoot ourselves in the foot. And remember, the goal is zero carbohydrates. The goal of addiction management is zero, abstinence. Now, the reality is there are some carbohydrates in certain foods that we eat. Vegetables, for example, and therefore vegetables in the carbohydrate addiction model are free. You don't have to know the carbohydrate content of those vegetables. So counting macros, counting this, forget about it. Early on when you start, it's preferably just the leafy green vegetables, or the ideal way to go is just pure carnivore, because there are no carbohydrates, or very, very few, in a carnivorous meal. The absolutes in the addiction model are the ones that you are going to eat to excess. Your potatoes, your rice, and maybe your sweet potatoes. So we don't look at net carbs or even total carbs down the road. For the first 6 to 8 months of this eating plan, I want you to absolutely know what the total carbohydrate content is so that you can make a judgment call. However, once you've educated yourself, where I am right now, 20 years in, as a fat person, I don't know the absolute number of anything, because you cannot live your life long term by the number. But I know absolutely when I look at anything that there is to eat or drink, whether I should or shouldn't. So in the addiction model, the decision is always binary. It is never about how much or is this, it is either yes or no. And the simple response is, if that was a beer and I was an alcoholic, would it be okay for me to drink? And if it contains carbohydrates, the answer is no. So simplify this. Don't count macros. Don't count calories. They are ludicrous and your body does not work that way. Know the total carbohydrate content of everything before you eat and drink it to begin with. And once you absolutely know, just apply a yes or no label to everything that's out there. And in my own life, that resulted in me migrating more and more and more toward a carnivore-based diet. And I'm basically an omnicarnivore, mostly carnivore, occasionally vegetables. But if you want to eat pure vegetables, be a vegetarian with maybe a little bit of eggs and cheese, that's fine. But still know the total carbohydrate content, because manufactured foods that are made to have a low net carbohydrate quantity are going to result in keto failure. And remember, the ketogenic diet is no different than any other diet that 98% or more of diets fail in the long run. It may take a year or two, but 98% of diets fail. And remember, the greatest lesson we've learned, one of the best things that ever happened to nutrition was Dr. Atkins. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Dr. Atkins developed his diet. People lost a ton of weight, and it was a net carbohydrate-based diet. People lost a ton of weight. Where are they now? They've all regained their weight back. And the Atkins concept is still a foundation, but it's a long forgotten one. Everybody has moved away from net carbohydrates. Please, 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 for your own long-term well-being. Focus on the total carbohydrate content and then just focus on yes, no. Recategorize your eating. Okay, please do that. After 20 years of doing this personally and with my patients, I've seen too many train wrecks. Evangelists who go by the wayside. Please don't make the same mistakes we've made over and over and over again. Total carbohydrates, not net carbohydrates, no lookalikes. It's that simple. If someone's trying to sell you something for your keto diet, stay the hell away from them, unless you've got a pile of extra money that you don't need that you want to donate to them. Please don't buy keto lookalikes. Don't make keto lookalikes, because I don't care what the hell a brownie is made of, what the net carbohydrate content of the brownie is. It's a brownie. You're not eating it for your nutrition. You're eating it for your head. Carb addiction, baby. Thank you.